Temujin has been successful in his early wars to expand out his high chiefdom and gain some land from his neighbours. But he knows that if he wants to achieve his lifelong goal of becoming Khan of Khans and taking the name Genghis, he's going to need to ramp up his warfare, his border expansion, and the size of his herd. Temujin is not the only man who wishes to become Khan of Khans though, and other high chiefdoms and even kings in the steppe are also vying to consolidate their power. Temujin's wife was previously abducted by a chief known as Yasunge. Upon Temujin's wife's return, she was found to be pregnant. Temujin has not taken this lightly and has already exacted some revenge upon Yasunge, killing one of his sons and even his wife, as well as taking the majority of his lands off him. However, Yasunge still lives, and as long as Temujin breeds, that is unacceptable. Super quick thank you from me as well for all your support on the channel, watching all of the series, leaving your comments. I absolutely love reading them. In the previous Rome video, I mentioned we were closing in on 500 subscribers, and after releasing that, we blew right past it. So seriously, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're enjoying these videos. I'm loving making them, and I can't wait to bring you more. And we are back. We have expanded quite a bit in just the first episode of this series. Our goal, obviously, is to continue to expand. We really want to make sure that we can grow our herd as well. Currently, our maximum capacity is around 10,000, which is exactly what we would need in order to change our dominance to high. Now, I really want to do this so that I can have a bigger domain for myself and also a higher vassal limit, because ultimately, I would much rather have vassals than tributaries when I can. From what I've seen, the tributaries have moved hands so often around me, it seems to be very, very flexible. Easy for you to lose them, for someone else to gain them. So we certainly will have tributaries, but ultimately I'd rather have official vassals when I can. We are also currently facing a chaotic succession. Now, we are only 25, I am not expecting to die soon, but in the event that something bad happens, I would much prefer a peaceful succession to a chaotic one. Ultimately, the way this works is it's based on our Kurultai. The more disobedient members we have on our Kurultai, the worse and the more chaotic succession is. Just one isn't too bad, some herd losses and defections, tributaries breaking free. 2 or more gets a lot worse with large herd losses, land loss, gold and legitimacy hits. And then half or more is super bad. Enormous herd loss, realm splitting in half, or dissolving completely. Now there's 4 people on our Kurultai. 3 of them are super obedient and like us a lot. It is this man here who obeys no one that is the problem. Now we do have the option to either demand obedience that we can't do yet because we need to have 45 or more dread, or we can negotiate it. In this case, we can bribe him with 225 herd, he'll gain some opinion and immediately become obedient, and I think this is more than worth it. There we go, he now bows to me, and now, if I look at the succession, it is stable. One other small issue we do have when it comes to having vassals though, is, for example, our half-brother here that we put in charge of Karakorum, we're not technically his rightful liege yet, and that is affecting how much contribution he is giving us in terms of herd. Now, unlike feudal, where we would need to take a certain amount of land in order to then actually either usurp or create the kingdom title, here we can actually just dominate it. To do that, we have to not be at war. We currently are, but it's not actually our war, it's just a war that an ally called us into, and we need our dominance to at least be high, which is what we are aiming for. So once we get high dominance, one of the first things we'll be doing is dominating this kingdom tier title. What essentially happens then is we take it by force. So rather than us individually going to war with every count and duke along the way here, anybody inside of the kingdom tier title will essentially all join a war against us, and we have to beat all of them, and then we'll dominate it and take the whole thing. How to train your eagle. At 6 years old, Halleck, the eagle, has become quite the skilled hunter, but there is always room for improvement. So what we can actually do here is a stewardship, diplomacy, or intrigue challenge to essentially specialize our eagle. So right now it's just a hunting eagle, which gives us better success chance for falconry hunt and some martial and stewardship. But now, based on its training, it will actually become either a brave, curious, or cunning eagle, and then each of those actually relate to that specific trait. I'm going to do the intrigue challenge here since we have a 100% chance of success. And we have also gained Skilled Eagle Falconer for +1 martial and +1 prowess. Very nice. Now, this land next to us here previously was doing very well and had lots of tributaries paying up to it. That has now changed though, and it's back to just a normal shepherd here. So for now, I most certainly will do this and demand you as a tributary. Thank you very much. Interestingly though, if we look at the county next to it, which is in much the same situation, we can't demand them to be a tributary because we're not neighboring them. So even though technically our tributary is, it's important to note that only the actual land that we or our official vassals hold count for us actually neighboring people. Also on the hit list today is Chieftain Yasunge here of the Murgid Mongols. We started the game and our wife had previously already been captured by him and came home pregnant. We did deal with this rather nicely though. We killed one of his sons and his wife and we took most of his lands off him, but he still does persist and I want him off the face of the earth. We do still have a truce, but the second that is up, we will move against them. I was checking this county next to us as well to see who they were actually a tributary of. When I checked their suzerain, it's currently just a nomadic camp, but it looks like they might actually be migrating over here to try and take this land. Now, I'm more than happy for them to do that. We can go to war with them. They'll be nice and close to us and we can take all the tributaries off them. But keeping track of exactly who's paying who is more complex than it might look. We will also need to manage our tributary contracts here. This is what the basic one looks like. So normal contribution in terms of herd and normal contribution in terms of prestige. What we can then do is guarantee them, which means that anybody wants to mess with them, they'll have to deal with us. And later on, if they are either our blood brother or an obedient tributary with a guarantee, we can also adjust it to force them to help us in our wars. This is not something we're going to use currently, since all of our tributaries are just shepherds with no soldiers, but later on, when we start to get tributaries of a much bigger size, possibly with a fighting force, it could be very useful. Lastly then, the game does tell us what the chance of them ceasing their tribute to us is, which is based on our relative military power and their overall obedience to us. Something else I want to keep an eye on is religion. Now, we are Tengri, happy to stay Tengri, and it's doing quite well as a whole, but right next to us is where we start to encounter lots of different religions, including those that hold our holy sites. One thing we can do with our tributaries is actually inspire conversion. We can, in this case, say impress with piety, and for 100 piety, she and all of her family will convert to Tengrism. Now, my son, who's also called Timogen, is looking to do his training. Now, because we are diligent and ambitious, we can say leave us alone and focus on ourselves instead, or we could have him try some different things with a 10% chance of different outcomes here. So essentially horse, 10% chance traveler, bow, 10% chance hunter, or foot and 10% chance strong. I think we'll train him on the foot to begin with. Hopefully he gets strong here. Quite a low percentage chance though. So the migration just displaced our tributary. So our tributary is just gone. He is now migrated here. How strong are you actually? 2,299 versus my 3,200. So he is actually quite strong. Lots of allies as well. We don't have as many, but they are slightly stronger, which is nice to see. Allies are tricky, to be honest. Land moves around so much, and along with migrations, they could end up moving too far away from you or right next to you and blocking your expansion. But we need to keep an eye on this for sure. We don't want to allow this person to get too strong right next to us. So I'm not quite sure what happened, but our nemesis here just had his lands revoked. Maybe he's going on a migration? Oh, he is. He's migrating away. He's migrating over here. So his lands have now just become a simple shepherd once again. Well, that's fine. We'll immediately take you as a tributary when we get the prestige. And we'll keep an eye on him. He's leaving. He doesn't want the smoke. He knows we're coming for him. He's trying to get away, but we won't let him. Also good to know, though, that when a ruler migrates, their old lands just simply default back to being shepherds. Oh, never mind. The tributary we had just immediately took over. Something I haven't done yet is actually raid anybody. We do have different options here. So pillage for 50% gold, 100% herd. We could capture for prisoners. We could plunder, and that would possibly give us a whole innovation, which is pretty crazy. Or an adventure. You know what? Let's start with pillage. We'll probably give each of them a go to see what they're about, but I am curious to see what we can actually gain from this. We're going to pillage the man right next to us here. Okay, so I've increased the size of my men-at-arms here. The Steppe Raiders are now level 2. That was a lot lot of our gold. Hopefully we'll get some of this back while raiding though. What's also important to note is that obviously we can't monthly reinforce our armies. We have to do it manually. What I didn't know though is that there's a cooldown on it. I was only missing about 11 men, but I wanted to refill them anyway. But very important to note, there's about a year cooldown on this. So we want to be very careful to remember to click this button, but also bear in mind that once we do, we can't do it again for a while. But that being said, let's raise all as raiders and head over into these lands here. And we've inadvertently become friends with a count who is right next to us here. He actually has one tributary himself. Would you be interested in being my tributary? Almost, if we can get some more prestige. That could be interesting. Oh, look at this. There's a whole new UI for raiding as well. This is quite nice. So interestingly, rather than just gold like we do for normal raids, we actually just collect loot here, and this seems to be converted into gold, and I imagine herd when we actually make our way back. But that's the actual figures we're seeing here. At first, when I was raiding, I was like, is this 8 gold? But it's not. It's 8 loot. So let's keep the train going for now. Another martial perk. I'm going to take Engineered for Destruction here for the siege weapon effectiveness. Now, the raiding is going well. The actual amount of loot available supposedly is to do with how prosperous the county is. But I have noticed that the actual, like, tributary shepherds and whatnot seem to have a lot more loot than this man does. But I'm actually happy to just keep raiding him for now. My concern with raiding them is it might just make it harder for us in the future to, like, demand them to be an actual tributary. Also, this is changing pretty quickly. This just jumped to 14 and this went down to 6. We have gained the trait Military Engineer, which is perfect. We are now going to be getting lots of synergies towards sieging things down fast. Ally is calling us into war once again. This time it's against an actual king of the neighbours over here. How many troops do you have? You have about 1388, and then you, my friend, are defending about 1251. Once again, I'll accept, but I'm like, there's no, whatever about coming to somebody's aid in a war that's far away and feudal. In this DLC, it definitely doesn't feel worth it. If my men get decimated, that's a bunch of herd and gold to get them back up again. If I've recently just reinforced them, I have to wait a year, so that's just a year without an army, and that's just to defend an ally who might just migrate and leave the land anyway. Okay, so the steppe season has changed. So what this now means is that the county fertility consumption is increased by 40%. The demand obedience character interaction has a higher acceptance chance, as well as demand tributary. We get a 10% reduction in herd gain. The retaliation wars are free, and we can upgrade nomadic horde regiments at 25% cheaper in terms of gold, and people are more likely to fall ill. This is non-ideal, but so far, nothing drastic has happened. I think we're going to be okay. It may get progressively worse though, I'm not sure. Okay, finally his armies have showed up here. We're gonna try and finish this siege and then attack them if we can. Never mind, he's attacking us. We'll take that, defending in mountains, thank you. He does have some Mongol though, so this will be an interesting battle to watch. Think we're okay, largely just thanks to our defensive bonuses here since he attacked us. Thank you. Sprouting interest in herbalism. 59% chance seeker of knowledge. What does that give us? Oh, just +1 learning? Okay. Another migration has displaced a tributary. Whereabouts has this occurred? Oh, okay, he migrated here, but then just bowed to me anyway. That's fine. Okay, actually, he has raised his army there filled with raiders, and he actually has more men than I do, and I've been fighting for quite a bit. Let's not be too greedy. We will take the loot that we have home. I'm going to pick up 44 loot. We'll see what that looks like when it gets converted. I am going to spend some of my herd and gold to upgrade the Square of Tumen to level 2, which will unlock the heavy horse archers for us, as well as giving us more size and number of men-at-arms regiments. And a bunch of other bonuses to our army as well. Interestingly, there's a 27% chance the man I just raided would actually accept to be my tributary. Now, he might be a lot more difficult to keep in control. I am curious when he is a tributary. I assume he keeps his existing alliances. Yeah, I think he does because the other one did, which would mean that if things went south, he would suddenly be a lot bigger than us. So I am in favor of tributaries. I'm not in favor of just taking every tributary we can, if it would be very easy for them to just be bigger than us and then just immediately leave. 22 gold and 178 herd. Okay, it's not really going to get us to 10k fast, but it is better than nothing. Zooming out, the realm that did start off as a lot of tiny little counties has started to consolidate quite a bit. No doubt it will continue to change. My plan is to try and keep picking up tributaries in the middle here, going to war where possible, keep them nice and weak and split up, as well as obviously this new duchy to the south. But from an expansion perspective, we may actually look north here. These are rather weak. If we can come up here and loop around this side and just sort of completely lock off this whole side of the map, that would be very nice. Also, in the last video, I spoke about how I wanted to save up some gold, get pikemen, counter all the cavalry. That'll be super nice. We can't do it. We are unaware of any bordering realms with access to pikemen, so we can't actually build them yet. We are going to have to focus only on upgrading our actual horde regiments, which, by the way, we are going to do. Now, we do have enough gold and herd to actually put the heavy horse archers in. We are going to do that. No doubt, eventually we'll be able to have even more men-at-arms and more slots and everything, but I'm kind of delaying having a super big army for the time being to focus on getting the best quality we can at the moment as well. Logic being, rather have the better quality, lose less men in battle, and have to pay to refill them less often. Someone is trying to steal my herd. Stop this immediately, please. Also, we didn't look at this before, but the foreign emissary actually going to be very important going forward. Based on aptitude, increases the amount of tributary taxes that we get. I'm going to pick up Organized March next. We'll probably go down the strategist tree for a while, and then once we get everything here, we'll probably rotate over to something new. It is time for a war. The tributaries to the north of us all pay up to this chieftain here. He's currently at war trying to take this guy out. While he is busy, we're going to go to war with him for a sovereignty war, looking to pick up these two tributaries, and instead of them paying up to him, they're going to pay up to us. Now, some enemy allies are joining this war, including our nemesis. Hopefully we get to meet him in the field. 74% chance to gain well-provisioned armies. I would very much like this, please, rather than paying the 50 gold. There we go, well-provisioned armies, plus 100 supply capacity. Some of these counties look so close together, but it can take months just to get over to them. Amazingly, while we are at war, they have found themselves caught in a war against the Duke to the north as well. They are going to pull it off, but they have lost quite a few troops from it, which is very, very nice while we continue our siege. There we go. The siege is done. Prisoner captured. And with nothing else for me to siege, we get immediately to 100%. It doesn't say which ones, it just says neighboring tributaries will pay tribute to me, so let's see. Looks like we got one of them alright, but the others are all still at each other's throats. They are attacking in a conquest, and then the actual shepherds are defending in a retaliation war. Now, one of my Kurultai members is causing problems and taking away all of my prestige, so I think I might actually plan my own hunt this time and see if we can become more successful. We'll do the Nurge, obviously, the one that is custom to nomadic. Total cost of 6 gold and 226 herd. That is fine, to be honest. Let's head out and do this. I know technically with the Eagle, we probably would have a higher success chance doing falconry, but we get so much more benefits doing this type of hunt. I wanted to do this one. Speaking of Eagle, same again, we can train. Let's do Martial this time. And we've gained Brave Eagle. Does this stack or is just one or the other? Okay, each time we train, it changes. So right now we have a Brave Eagle, which is fine. My Spy Master and brother are arguing. I don't have the diplomacy I need to make them work together. I'm going to agree with my Spy Master on this one and just keep moving forward. We will gain 150 prestige already, which is very nice. And we're here. Come on. Show me the strength of the Mongols. For almost every interaction here, I'm just going to pick the one that gives us a better success chance. We could rob a bow off of this man. It's only a grey though. We could say you can keep it and gain some opinion. I'm just going to say get back on your horse and let's finish this thing. Okay, it's all over, but we did get to the second highest level. 100 legitimacy, 450 prestige, 150 gold, 40 dread. And every participant has gained 225 prestige. Very, very nice. Super happy with that, to be honest. We need to be doing that a lot more. We kind of have to do just more micro with these realms, as far as I can tell. You need a lot of prestige. You're not really getting a huge amount of it passively. Same with gold and everything else. Like, most of what you're building towards passively is your herd, and then you're kind of using your herd to do like micro things like raid and hunt to actually get the other resources. We'll delay our journey back. I'm not risking getting sick. Now that we are back, we can upgrade our main yurt to level 3, which will be very nice. One more building slot, some vassal limit increases, herd capacity increases, fort level, and income and prestige. Once again, we have the ability to call for a confederation, but I do not want to yet. It's very nice, you're very secure, but we can't change our dominance level if we do that, and that's the thing I'm really aiming for. Wife is pregnant again, very nice to see. Now, I can also give my vassals directives. Of course, they're different to what we have in feudal. They can increase fertility, they can set raid intent to innovations, or raid intent to gain herd. I'm going to put everything on herd for now, to be honest. There could be an argument for fertility, but I would rather just grab the herd now. We can get the kind of passive increase with fertility later. Right now, I want to get to 10,000 as soon as any shepherds become free around me, I'm immediately demanding them to become my tributary. Welcome in, my friend. I think Kokachin is cheating on me again, but to be honest, I'm just going to say she would never respect me thusly. I don't even want to know. Level of splendor is increased. Very nice. I am now going to put in the Nomad Lancers. That's the last regiment we have to build. Now we can just increase the size of this. We have some normal, where are they? Normal Steppe Raiders. We have our Torchbearers for siege, and then our good troops with our heavy horse archers and nomad lancers. We also have a dynasty legacy available. No real question that we'll be going for the nomadic one here for the herd gain and county fertility growth. Later on then, a lot of them are in the same vein. Some of them are bonuses to raiding, raid time, conversion of our herd to actual horde raiders, more army buffs, and special Keshig men-at-arms, which just look ridiculously good. And then Piece of the Great Khan for lots of extra income and a unique decision. And twins have been born. We have a son and a daughter who we're going to name Kabul and Hoylun here. Nothing too crazy. Borte does have Comely, which is nice to see, but other than that, nothing else for us to do. Now, it may not look like we've grown a lot, but each of those grey lines are more tributaries that we have picked up. So our actual herd income is looking strong, even though we haven't grown the borders of our realm yet. Board out on tributary, hello? Oh, with tributary versus tributary. Alright, do what you want, we'll sort it out later. For my next building, I think I will go for the court yurt here. We'll get the court chronicler, which is nice, but nothing too crazy. What I really like is the buffs to tributary taxes, as well as vassal herd contribution. At level 6, you'll see it starts to get crazy, with 24% increases to tributary taxes and herd contribution from our vassals. Now, the Dogshin Mongols over here are the first to actually refuse becoming a tributary. We can't have that though, so we're going to take it by force. Foreign ruler over here of the Latkans wants to marry my player heir to his daughter. Maybe, my friend, maybe, but your daughter is disfigured, scarred, and a bastard. I mean, that doesn't really matter a huge amount in terms of this marriage, but I would prefer to take a look myself when my son is of the right age, so probably not right now. My nemesis has challenged me to a non-lethal single combat. Absolutely, I accept. We will attack first. Strike, parry, riposte. Because of our intrigue, we'll go for a weak point. And we are victorious. He's gained the trait wounded. We have gained some legitimacy and a bunch of opinion. We have truly taken everything from this man except for his life. And that's coming. Now, the war to take the Dogshin Mongols underneath us as a tributary has been won. Thank you very much. Now, interesting, the tributaries aren't very keen, even when they like me a lot, and they're obedient to just become an actual vassal. But what I can always do is just demand the actual pasture land back, seize it off them, they'll lose some opinion, but then we can just hand it out to somebody as an official vassal. I'm also going to be a bit more ruthless with the tributaries, continuously working the contracts up and up in terms of their contribution towards me. With how easily these can fall outside the realm, I want to get the most bang for my buck while they are there. The shepherds are very nice, because I can just immediately ask for the land back off them, but when they're more actually official and they have like actual men-at-arms themselves, they're a little bit more awkward to deal with. Holy family drama. My sister-in-law, Aitin, has been showing signs of pregnancy for some time now, and everyone thought that her husband, Temujay here, who's our brother, was the father. Now it's become clear that the real father is none other than Belgute, who's our half-brother. I'm going to put the kneeling rugs upgrade into our new building here for plus 4% vassal herd contribution. Interestingly, lots of the little upgrades here are tiny little improvements, but there's lots of them within each of the buildings. You're kind of consistently stacking these small upgrades over time, which I quite like. Our nemesis has drank himself to death. likely because of what we put him through, but interestingly, his heir has decided to continue the feud, and he is located nice and close to us just across the river here. Now, while he is low on allies and we are stronger than him, I am going to go for a singular county of this duke to the south of us here. I will likely give this away and to be back at my vassal limit, and I like weakening him in the process. Now, I'm going to attend a hunt I was invited to from one of my tributaries. Prestige is so important. I absolutely burn through it. We're not getting a huge amount of it passively, and it's super important for getting tributaries as well. While I'm at this hunt, we are continuing the war to the south also. We have come across a wandering Ashari here. We could pay him for some of his flock. We could say that his faith is a gift in and of itself, and the cost to convert to Muslim faith would be reduced. Or we can say, my needs I will take by force. 99% chance we defeat him and we get the gold and the herd. Yes, please. Now, the Kyrgyz here have actually been expanding quite a bit. They have lots of tributaries around them. And he actually wants to marry my daughter. I'm actually fine with this. I think that's a perfect alliance. He is far enough away to not get in my way, but close enough to help if needed. Interesting. Even though I just allied with the Kyrgyz, he can still declare war on my tributaries. So the only way to actually protect them is to negotiate in their actual contract the guarantee. Our tributaries hunt is over. Was a success. We did at least gain 25 prestige. Nothing to write home about, but better than sitting around doing nothing. Our war against the Dukes of the South is going well. Still have no idea where his army even is, to be honest. We're just going to keep sieging down until he shows up. So I found the enemy army, and once again, they are just trying to siege us down way too late while we're on to sieging our second county. My daughter found a gold trinket in an eagle's nest. I can climb up there. 99% chance of finding a cache of treasures inside. Yes, please. We'll grab the gold. How much do we get? 100. We will take that every day. Now, I know the goal was to get to 10,000 herd. I have been using it pretty aggressively. So we have about the same herd that we started with, but we have increased by about 20 the number we're gaining each month. We were started at around 40. We're now up to 60. Siege lost. Oh, they're counter-sieging me now. Amazing. Come down and fight me and we'll deal with this like men. Oh, I got a lavender jade pendant in the nest as well. Didn't even realize it. That's a nice bit of piety for us. My son Temujin has finally come of age. He is now a skilled tactician and quite different to me, to be honest. He is compassionate, calm, and honest. I'm like vengeful and diligent. He is rowdy. He is a skilled tactician, Way of the Nomad, of course. Handsome, which is great to see, and has still Uder. Now, I'm going to build a sheep upgrade inside of the storage, mainly for the plus 5% fertility growth in the steppe. If we actually look at the terrain here, most of the land we hold is going to be steppe. It's going to diversify quite a bit later, but right now we should get the most bonuses from this. Now, I think I will marry Temujin here to the daughter of Itabar Turgan here, of this land over here, Blue Caucasia. They are rather strong, not too far away either. I think this is a solid alliance for us. Now, we've finally caught the enemy army here in the war in this, and we've absolutely deleted them. We've deleted them, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also going to upgrade the kneeling rugs here for more vassal herd contribution. We have lots of gold and lots of herd, so why not? We have another county here who refused to be a tributary, so you know what that means. Time to take it by absolute force. Can you believe I'm still forgetting to raise my army first? Like, every time I remember it, it's right after I declare war. There we go. Much like Genghis Khan himself, it is submit or there will be no mercy here. That is another tributary for us. We're going to go on another hunt here to try and just pick up an absolute bag of prestige because we are running low once again. The capital actually looks like quite a good place for it. Why not? Now, as an upgrade inside of my main yurt, I'm actually going to build the Velvet Kurultai seats. This way, the skill members of the Kurultai tasks are increased by 5%, and we get a tiny bit of domicile prestige, which I will happily take at this stage. Not as great of a hunt this time. We almost got to the same level, but not quite. But to be honest, that's fine. Not too worried about the gold and everything else. The 300 prestige is exactly what we want to see. With that though, I'm going to leave this episode here. I am super happy with the progress we made today. Lots of key upgrades, upgrading the military, upgrading our actual nomadic capital, We didn't gain a huge amount of herd, but we've used it in a lot of smart ways. Our army is now looking a hell of a lot stronger. On top of that, our actual monthly change we managed to increase, which is the most important thing. With some raiding and some schemes in the next episode, we should be able to get to that 10k, which will enable us to actually dominate our first kingdom, hold the kingdom tier title, and then we will expand out from there to become Khan of Khans. However, it's not going to be smooth sailing. We have some very big potential enemies to deal with, and in the nomadic realm, things can change in a second. But as always, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Comment any suggestions or thoughts. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.